Hello everyone, this is the Underdog, and I'm making a review of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. I'm doing this on my phone, so I'm just gonna use a black screen because I don't have all my equipment. So hopefully that is okay. So I have a few notes here that I have on paper, which I'm going to be reviewing. As you can hear, my voice isn't 100%. I would have done this 2 days ago, but my voice was completely shot, and I couldn't do anything but wait until my voice was somewhat good. So this is gonna be a spoiler review. Anyone who hasn't watched it and doesn't want to be spoiled, here's your warning. Anyone else, well, if you want to listen to this, be my guest. So I'm going to just say, don't pay for this movie. Don't pay anything regarding to this movie because it is hot garbage. It is not worth watching. I'm gonna go over the reasons why it's bad, and I would say it's even the worst Star Wars movie that has been made so far. It is worse than The Last Jedi. It is again a carbon copy of Return of the Jedi, and then it just I'm gonna be cursing, so I might be just curse now. They just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. So I'm just gonna get the positive out of the way, so you can listen to the rest of my review. So C3PO, and the few shots that R2 was in the movie. Only thing positive I can say, C3PO had some wonderful dialogue. Babo Freak is probably good character they made, so that was a good part. They fixed, but they mentioned the Holder maneuver not being able to be conceivable in any other attack, and there were small chances even being possible. I find that hard to believe. That is just basically damage control. But I counted out as a positive retconning The Last Jedi. Uh, John Williams had a cameo, which was really fun. And probably the most positive, which people have been complaining about for 40 years, is Chewbacca finally got his medal from A New Hope, which I thought was is probably the only contribution that JJ has done that is positive for the Star Wars franchise since him joining. And I have to give props to that. So good on you, J.J. Abrams. So let's dive into the shit show that is the Rise of Skywalker, and I even have to address some of the things that have just come out the day or so after the premiere, and J.J. Abrams has had to comment on things that were not explained in the movie. Now that's just bad directing. It shows the movie is bad. So first of all, he had to clarify something that happened in the movie with Finn constantly trying to tell Rey something. It was basically implied he loved her, but apparently it was that he was force sensitive and he wanted to tell Rey. Okay, why wasn't this just in the movie? Because Jar Jar Abrams can't put a simple line in the movie. Um, and the first scene of Kylo Ren slaughtering all those people in Mustafar, it seems. That's at least what the canon now says. And there are Vader cultists. That was a nice explanation to hear that outside of the movie. Why didn't they just include it in the movie? So let's take a look at the plot itself and what J.J. Abrams did to the characters. You'll have Rey basically being in the middle of it, probably Rey and Kylo's movie, and then you have also Poe and Finn. Oh, sorry about that. Poe gets a little. How should I say? There's little to his character that gets added. Only thing is that his past is a little bit more explored. That he used to be a spice runner. That's it. And Finn is basically a is force sensitive, but that he's such. I can't believe that he's such a missed opportunity for this entire franchise, where you could have done this in and explored this in episode 8, and even ignored Ray and not made her the center of the story. A stormtrooper that is force sensitive changing sides is such a more compelling story than just trying to replicate Luke Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker, and just making her a Mary Sue, because she is a Mary Sue. This is the third movie in the franchise, and this it still doesn't explain her powers. She basically has no training whatsoever. We basically find her levitating, floating in the air with loads of rocks around her, which makes no goddamn sense whatsoever. If we even follow the logic of the new trilogy, only Luke Skywalker is a grand master of the Jedi, when using all of his abilities, was floating in the air. But Rey just calmly meditates, and she looks like a. She basically looks like a Dragon Ball Z character, because that's what we get in this movie. The power levels. If we had a scale, it is now over 9,000. The movie completely ignores any sort of reality in the movies, or some sort of consistency. They just go all out and just make up stuff, and it's just ridiculous. And she does a training course, and that's the only time we really see Rey training. But what does it matter? She's so powerful that she doesn't even need training at this point. And let's just hear what actually happens in the movie. So when Poe comes back from his mission, from the spy, which we all know to be Hux because this was in the leaks, Poe and Finn basically say she is the best fighter they have. So who blew up the Starkiller base? It wasn't Rey, but apparently now she is so good of a pilot that she makes Poe even say that she is the best fighter in the whole fleet of the Resistance. Yay! She is not a Mary Sue yet again. And it wasn't even Rey that destroyed the Dreadnought, but yeah, she's the best fighter and pilot they have. And we have R2 and C3PO, basically the only good thing of this movie. Oh, sorry. The positive thing is their interaction, but it's so little of it. So I don't even know why they bother that. It's just for the nostalgia. The member berries. And it's also when they land to find this, basically this mystery box, this Sith waypointer or whatever it is, because there are two items. And the rule of two, by the way, it goes out the window. Because screw what George Lucas did. We don't have to adhere to George Lucas's creation. So the rule of two is basically gone in this movie as well, because they bring back Palpatine, and he's the one who created Snoke. No explanation for this whatsoever. How did he survive being thrown down the shaft of the Death Star exploding, and then also the Death Star exploding? And this isn't explained yet again. Great writing there, Chris Terrio and J.J. Abrams. That makes complete sense. That it would be like bringing back Han Solo unscathed, because he's just Han Solo. This is basically what they did to Palpatine. They needed a bad guy, and the Last Jedi just ruined the whole trilogy, and they were desperate, having a bad guy for Rey to fight at the end. Even though there's no tension in this movie whatsoever, there doesn't seem to be any danger, at least for Rey, in this movie. I just felt in this movie they're gonna make this no matter what, because Rey is Rey and she's a Mary Sue. Um, and Leia and Rose just femsplain in this movie as well, just to be optimistic, because that's how we should do it. And this is yet another point in the movie where they are at the desert planet. They fly now. They fly now, and that doesn't even make sense either, because the Jet Troopers were in the comics with the Poe, and so he had seen this. And why don't they just have those speeders? Why do they have sand vehicle, like the bikes, dirt bikes? That doesn't even make any sense for Star Wars. And they drop into a quicksand hole, and guess what happens? They encounter this worm or the snake, and Ray proceeds to heal this snake or worm or whatever. And the worm, of course, doesn't doesn't attack Ray, because she's Ray. And where does this come from? How can she suddenly heal things? Where is this? I can't even understand Disney Star Wars. Sorry if this video seems a little bit cut up, because my throat is getting sore and dry, so I have to cut it up, so I have to take breaks. Otherwise, I just keep coughing. So when it comes to this snake, or whatever it is, where did this come from? And it gets even more ridiculous after this point, because they find the item, and the way out, and or on the way back to the ship, where she suddenly realizes this is a ship that her parents left her a little bit later, which makes why didn't she recognize it right away? But this is the scene from the first trailer where Kylo Ren tries to ram uh, Rey. Instead of shooting her, he tries to ram her for no reason whatsoever. And he of course gets his ship cut in half and survives. And this is where the ridiculous part is. They get Chewie, arrest him, and the ship is on its way into space, and Rey suddenly starts pulling the spaceship back to her. This is some Star Killer OP power levels. Yoda had problems saving Obi-Wan and Anakin with his pillar thrown at them, yet she can pull a goddamn spaceship towards her. Where does this come from? And why didn't she do this with the Millennium Falcon at any point? Sorry about that. It just it, it doesn't make any sense. It just and Kylo, of course, it would make sense if he could do this, but of course Rey is so powerful that she outmatches yet again Kylo Ren, and she blows up the spaceship with the Force lightning, without any explanation whatsoever. How how can she do this? How? I don't. Aren't you supposed to have years and years of training in the dark side of the Force to be able to use lightning? There were only two Force users that we know of in canon before this that used Force lightning: Palpatine and Dooku. Not even Anakin, Darth Maul, or anyone else had the ability to use Force lightning. But of course, because she's Rey, she can do this just accidentally, without any training. But so she gets a free pass. Um, and it also looks like it was just some sort of misunderstanding because Chewie was for some reason not on that ship. I don't know if they fixed this in the shoots or edited it this way because they didn't have the balls to kill Chewie, but Chewie somehow survived that or was on another transport. I don't know why. There was only one ship there. So continuity errors are abundant in this movie. Um, and we go to this I can't remember off the top of my head this planet they go to basically to because the dagger gets blow or destroyed with the inscription, uh, and they have to also sorry they have to read it and understand it, so they have to erase the memory of C3PO. And Baba Frick is probably one of the bright spots. Something they actually did right instead of the porgs and stuff like that. They actually had a good character for once, and that was all undone afterwards because R2 just had his memory banks, which was a funny scene, but it was basically for there was no tension behind this, and so. Also on that planet, we have this chick that wants to turn these people in Poe, Finn, and Ray for a bounty, and Ray just beats all of them down, and this ex, it seems, of Poe just likes her and takes her to Baba Frick. So she has the ability to win over people by kicking man's behinds, and just gets along with all, especially all the females in this movie. So let's continue in this movie, and yeah, the Knights of Ren, they don't really look that good, and they had a really minor part in this movie. Um, and let's continue in my notes. Yeah, the whole taking a last look at my friends from the trailers is such a member berry, and trying to. It's the same with the Chewie moment. They try to give you a shock, but then undo it just a few moments later in the movie. So didn't really matter at all. And this ex, the sorry or whatever woman has looks like a Power Ranger, and she also does some teleporting later in the movie, which again continuing being having logic in this movie, and people being all over the place in Star Wars. That is no issue whatsoever, especially in this movie. Uh, so in this planet, they have to go up uh, to the Star Destroyer to get Chewie because Rey somehow can sense that Chewbacca is on this Star Destroyer, but Kylo cannot sense Rey is on the planet or on the Star Destroyer. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. How can she feel non-force users when Leia barely could, or she had a connection with Luke, and she could only they could only feel each other, and Anakin, for example, and Darth Vader, they could sense each other. but they couldn't like feel if Han Solo was on the planet or anything like that. That was just planning. So now you can feel non-Force users in Star Wars as well, which makes again no sense whatsoever. So when they get on the transport or the Star Destroyer, Rey of course has mastered the Jedi mind trick. Yet again shows she can use it full advantage without any training or anything. Uh, it's just great. Why not do much more? Um, and the what should I say, the gunfight from the trailer. When they free Chewbacca, they basically run through the entire Star Destroyer without any cover. So what was the point of Luke, Han, and Leia having to cover when they freed Leia? But Poe and Finn, they just and Chewbacca, they run through everyone. No cover whatsoever. They get caught in the end, but uh, and they get saved by Hux, of course, because he doesn't want Kylo Ren to win, and he gets shot right after. What a joke of a character Hux is. I have to say to everyone, it's such a wasted character. They made him a joke in the Last Jedi, and then just completely butchered him. What was the point of having Domhnall Gleeson play such a pathetic character, making him out to be such a menace in The Force Awakens, and he's just a joke in 8 and 9. It's pathetic. Um, and we have some sort of danger because we wouldn't want all of our heroes to get unscathed, because Poe does get shot in the shoulder or whatever. Uh, but yeah, and we found out that the Emperor killed her parents and wanted Rey. Uh, but that doesn't even make any sense, because why didn't you just let your children have more children? Why do you just settle for Rey? Again, this doesn't make any sense from a plot perspective or logical consistency perspective. Um, why would Palpatine just want one granddaughter? Why not thousands? It doesn't make any sense. Um, and I'm just going through my notes here. And it also shows that they had no plan for this. They just said all the fan theories from years ago, they were right after episode 7. Well, she's a Palpatine. Okay, great. But that still doesn't explain. Even Luke had to train. Even Anakin, the chosen one, had to train. But because she's a Palpatine, yay, she is super strong. And Ray can, of course, fly like Mary Poppins in space. Um, uh, it's in the TV spot, I believe, where she just jumps from the ship and jumps to the Millennium Falcon. And then they go to and they find out it's on one of the moons of Endor, and the Death Star is basically intact, um, and it doesn't. It appear. It was basically blown to pieces. I might be actually wrong with the Endor moon, but I think it was the Endor moon. Uh, and it's so intact. I don't understand how you can blow a Death Star to a million pieces, and you have such a big chunk that's still is still intact from this from this Death Star. Let's move on. Uh, yeah, well, and when they get to the planet, they basically also find all of these rest of stormtroopers, apparently being force sensitive, but it's not explained all that much. But this is where I got the feeling, yeah, the Finn is force sensitive. Where they really dove into that, and Ray being obsessed and growing up on a desert planet, she can ride 100 feet waves without any problem whatsoever. Makes total sense. Yes, good writing, good plot, good storytelling here. Jar Jar Abrams, congratulations yet again. She of course comes to the Death Star without any problems whatsoever. Comes unscathed, climbs up this gigantic part of the Death Star, and we get to the throne room, which is basically intact. It is. It hasn't been harmed that much by blowing up to 1,000 pieces. That's completely okay. But when we get to the throne room, the layout doesn't really look like what it did in Return of the Jedi. No, no, we screw consistency because we want to look cool and different, and we have to do something different. Um, So when the basically the chair is there, the entire room except for the background behind the chair is intact. And they go into the secret room, and she finds her evil self with a double-bladed lightsaber, fights her, and gets out again. And then for some reason, Kylo Ren is there when she gets out. How the fuck did he get there without anyone noticing, anyone seeing this, before Poe and Finn and anyone else coming there? No. Kylo Ren is just there suddenly. Uh, how? Again, this comes back to the people in this movie. They can teleport or be at several places at once. This isn't even the hallucination or the Skype call thing which Ryan Johnson introduced in 8, which they did when they fought each other on the planet earlier. No, this is basically Kylo Ren is there. I also thought would have been brilliant if the fight between them when he came with a TIE fighter against her, trying to ram her, if all of that was a vision to distract her from getting Chewbacca. But no, we have to do everything stupid in this movie. So they fight, and and they just crush a holocron because that's how you do things in this movie. She got the holocron from the secret chamber from Palpatine, and you can just crush it because that's how things work. No consistency. It's just uh, you could just crush it, even though Rebels told us you can't just crush it. Um, Now later everyone comes to the Death Star for some reason, again teleporting them, and the fight between Rey and Kylo go on for what you see in the trailer on this water pod of the Death Star, and they just throw sticks at each other. Doesn't feel choreographed whatsoever, and now we see that you can do new things with the Force. You can apparently stop strikes from the other person, and yet they don't get to stab the other person with that power. That it's amazing. So you can stop other people from swinging, but you can't kill them with that power. Sorry about that. Uh, and we of course again see that Ray wins. To be fair, with a little bit of help from Leia, who turns with her last powers um, and dies to get Kylo Ren back to the light side, just like that. And he also gets to talk with Han Solo in a vision. And then I don't know even know how that is possible to speak with Han Solo. It's not. It is implied that it's all in his head, but how is it possible to talk to Han Solo if he's not even force sensitive? Again, brilliant writing, J.J. Abrams. But also during the fight, so basically, Ray wins the fight, even though it's badly choreographed and just if you this is supposed to be like the episode 3 type of the epicness should be there, but I just felt nothing watching the fight between Kylo Ren and Rey. And Rey just wins just like that and heals Kylo Ren afterwards, and leaves to confront Palpatine to basically kill him and take revenge for her parents. Uh, and Poe becomes the new leader, asks Pando Lando if how we did it, and he said we had it with each other, and he just promotes Finn to general just like that, and they find out, let's attack the fleet that some reason somehow Palpatine was able, by defying death, cloning Snoke. I don't know if what was the First Order. What was it? A creation from Palpatine? What was it? I don't understand. And then you have this massive fleet. I don't even understand what happens after this movie with the First Order. And of course, because we go over 9,000, every single one of these Star Destroyers have Death Star technology and can blow up planets. Because let's just screw all the let's just make everything bigger and blow up things. So the planet they were on earlier, that was blown up where Sori was on and Baba Frick, but somehow later we see them surviving, even though there was no way to get off the planet. And so we have the rest of the resistance going to attack the big fleet of Palpatine and take down the communication towers, basically. And during this battle, I felt nothing. There was no tension. Because the plan was to go to everywhere and to assemble the fleet. How they did it, it's just again one of those Deus Ex Machina moments where we have thousands of fighters, and they came basically when everything is lost and everything is gone. They come and destroy basically the fleet of Palpatine. And let's just the worst part of all of this is the fight between Rey and Palpatine. So we have another Force ability where if Rey kills Palpatine, Palpatine can basically transcend into her body. So why did he only get one grandchild? Why did he kill his children if he could do this all this time? Again, logic is something this movie does nothing. Um, and Ray is about to strike down uh, Palpatine, and we find also out a new force power that Kylo and Rey are a dyad, I think it was called in the movie, in the Force, which again makes no sense whatsoever. What is this? How this does this happen? They just say it happens a few times every generation, but that doesn't explain anything. Are they related? Is that what they are? Is Palpatine the grandfather of Rey and grandfather of Kylo, or great grandfather, I think it would be. That's the only conclusion I can come to, is that they're somehow related. That's a conclusion here, and Rey is supposedly going to strike down Palpatine, but we all know Rey is gonna do the right thing, and she takes two lightsabers because Luke told her, because she torched the fighter to get to the same island Luke was on. I can't remember for the life of me the island he was on, reclused on in episode 8. Was it Talk 8? Uh, and apparently Force ghosts can do whatever they want. They can she throws her lightsaber into the fire and Luke catches it. So they can interact in the real world, yet don't participate in the fights. Makes no sense whatsoever. And Luke can also pull his X-wing out of the water when he's a Force ghost. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! How does that make any sense? This again breaks the lore so much. Why didn't Obi-Wan or any of the Force ghosts interfere in any of the fights if they can interact with the real world? That doesn't make any sense. Anyways, we know that Leia beat Luke in a training fight because women can't lose apparently, and gives Leia had a lightsaber and she takes two with her. So Luke, for some reason, knew that Kylo was going to come to that battle. So she, while supposedly going to strike down Palpatine with clones or thousands of Sith watching this. Where they came from, I have no idea. Again, logic is out of the window in this movie, and they can. She teleports this lightsaber to Kylo, who is fighting the Knights of Ren. I have to say, that was actually one cooler part of the movie, but again, meaningless. Kylo comes to confront, uh, and he rejuvenates himself by taking life from them. Again, how can Palpatine now extract life from other beings? How? How? And then he just force tosses Kylo Ren into a pit where he is presumably dead. But he survives, of course. And this gives the opportunity for Rey to take out Palpatine all by herself. Because, of course, toxic men can't beat Palpatine. The entire legacy of the six first movies is completely destroyed by this garbage movie. The sacrifice of Darth Vader was for nothing. Anakin wasn't the chosen one, because in the final moments when Palpatine is about to overpower her, all of the Jedi talk to her, and she says, "We all live in you." So she is basically a Jedi god. So she just defeats Palpatine without any problems, but somehow dies. And because Kylo Ren is a toxic white male, he heals Rey, kisses her, hashtag Reylo, and Kylo Ren dies, gets his redemption, and Rey then takes the two lightsabers into the desert, buries them, which is ironic since Anakin hated the sand, so that's not nice. And someone asks, "What's your name?" There hasn't been someone like you for a long time. And who is this woman? How does she know who Anakin or Jedi how does she know who she is? Anyways, I'm Rey Skywalker. So not only is she a Palpatine that takes all of the glory from Luke, Anakin, Kylo, and all the men, she takes the name. Uh, how this doesn't show that she is a Mary Sue, then I don't know what. I I don't know what to say about this new trilogy. It is such garbage, and this movie wasn't just an insult to the audience. It completely makes the first six movies and a big fu to George Lucas regarding the his movies and his creation. Even the Clone Wars are if you only watch what George made and Rogue One, all of this makes sense. But the six movies made, sorry, the three movies made from Disney, they completely destroy, especially this movie. The Last Jedi killed Luke Skywalker and the legacy of the Jedi, and a big F you to the fans. This one destroys the entire legacy of George Lucas. They didn't use anything George Lucas made, and this is the biggest fu uh, to George Lucas that you can possibly do to his creation. It's the they're just destroying what he created just to get money and be able to say, I directed Star Wars, I wrote Star Wars. Uh, I don't even know what to rate this. A 2 out of 10, but I think that's too generous, and I think the Last Jedi is garbage. Uh, I don't even know what to choose. I'm probably gonna watch it for free now. Another time to see if I could spot things that I didn't spot the first time, but I doubt it. I I just consider the first six movies canon. Fuck Disney. Fuck Jar Jar Abrams. Fuck Kathleen Kennedy. Fuck Ryan Johnson. Fuck Disney. This is such an abomination to a beloved franchise I love. And don't watch this movie. Don't watch this movie. I made the mistake. I should have found a free way to watch this. Um, I still have some hope, but no. Boycott this movie if you want. I would personally recommend not to spend money on this, but you can do whatever you want with your money. This movie is garbage, worse than The Last Jedi, hot garbage. Fuck Disney yet again. I love George Lucas. I can't imagine why they threw out his scripts. It's amazing. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time.